Hey chat, how we doing today? I have come to the realization directly before stream that my brain has decided that it does not want to pay attention today. I swear I've been trying to focus on today's lesson and all that, but my brain's just like, nah, you don't need to retain any of this information. So now I'm just gonna do this assignment without retaining apparently any information from the video I watched twice. A 32-minute video, by the way. So, if my brain decides it wants to be a piece of shit over this, guess what? Spoiler alert, it's not going to work. So, I'm not going to select a file just yet, because there needs to be a little bit of explanation on this one. So, these are all the exercise files that I've been using to learn this course so far. And currently, we're on exercise 5. As you can probably tell, exercise 5 has 4 different versions. And the base one is 5A. We've also got 5B, C, and D. Now, I believe 5A is technically the easiest, but then we've got interactions between these as well. So we've got this one, which the design is the ball rolls down a slope, interacts with another ball, and sort of just pushes it off the ledge here. Then you got this one where one ball falls down here, these two are bouncing, and it rolls along here and hits that. And then this one is actually a 3-ball chain reaction. I, against my better judgment, am going to try and do as many of these as physically possible, even if it's going to hurt me. So we'll start off with the basics here. So we have this thing. Now, first thing we need to do here is we need to animate the body going down these slopes. So I got one going down here. It needs to roll directly off the edge and hit there. And it probably needs, because it hits that, it's probably going to do like a bit of a bounce and then go back in this direction, where it falls off. Probably not that far, like maybe this far, and then it needs to do some bouncing. And then roll to a stop roughly around about here. So, I need to figure out what the key points of this animation is going to be. So, the key frameable positions. First obvious one is the one up here and the one down here, which I've already done. This one here is probably going to be a keyframe. There's probably going to be a few bounces around here, so there's going to be like a few of these around here. I think probably the ledges are going to be keyframeable as well, alongside these ones down here. And obviously their arcs up here. So I think that's relatively doable. I'm just going to focus on the actual movement of the ball first before I attempt to do any variety of rotation on this thing. Alright, so we already start in pose mode, it seems. I'll need to make sure that I do all this. On the active keying set this to available, and this one is location specifically. So the only ones that this doesn't affect is the Y. So I'll just move those for now. This is on the body bone, right? Yep. Okay, so the first keyframe is up here. I want to go to like frame 20. And maybe around about here. Now something that I need to remember to do. Actually, that stays pretty relatively stable. I just need to make sure that this is just on the ramp. It's not like clipping in actively. And then this one here, which is supposed to be down here, maybe slightly higher than that. So I've got that. That moves along there as intended. That's fine. And then the next frame going along. I wonder if doing graph editor might be slightly easier in this case. It doesn't really matter. So next frame is going to be probably around about here. Oh wait, let's go to frame 30 for this one. So it hits there, and then probably does a bit of a bounce to like 5 frames later. Probably not even that far, actually. So it does that, and then we go in the other direction, frame 50. So this is basically what is referred to as blocking out, more or less, is what this is. So now this moves along here. Now the reason why this here broke, this section here is broken, is because the animation curve defaults to, I believe it's aligned. So these technically see this now as a curve and not straight. But that can be fixed in just a moment. So now this needs to head off that ramp, probably around about here. So it falls off here. And then frame 90, I want to have this probably around about here. And then I'm going to have quite a few positions here where it bounces. So say this is a keyframe and this is a keyframe. So G and C here, G and C up there, and then G and C up here. And then probably need to get this a bit further. So G and X. Alright, let's try this for now. And something I'm going to do right off the bat, I am going to... Okay, I haven't set this to the quick select, I probably should. So, where is my motion paths? So I'm going to assign this to quick favorites. I'm going to calculate this one. So now we can see exactly what's going on here. Now, this is curved here. I want it to be touching, basically just straight the entire time. That's going to fall off. This wants to bounce into this position here. It probably wants like a secondary bounce as well. Then it rolls down here and then falls off and then hits here, bounces, and goes along. So, I'm going to pull up a graph editor here. And we shall do just that. Now, first thing I probably want to edit is this here. So these two in particular. The easiest way to do this would probably be vector handles, maybe? So if I update paths here. Yeah, so that should, yeah, go along the entire thing without a single issue. Now, I probably want to start the roll off with several keyframes here. So what I can do is I can grab these two here, because it's going to be the same acceleration value. I'm going to scale these in the X. And if I update that, now that starts off with a few more keyframes in between. So if I simplify here for a moment, I'd probably say that's even slightly too slow, don't you think, chat? Although to be... like, I'm not taking friction into account during this animation. So like frame 20... well, let's just do this roughly. So frame 20, I want this to be... free handles here. I want these to be free. I'll scale them to Y. So if I update that... okay, not quite what I want. So I probably need to... okay, I have no idea what's going on, but my neighbor's kids are just absolutely screaming their lungs out. Like, what's the deal? What's so funny? Like, go on, share the joke for the class. Update paths, okay, it doesn't quite work. So if I move that up... okay, that's slightly too far. So, G then Y. And then update. So yeah, that should fall off. Might even make this a bit taller. Update paths. So the problem is here, because this is Bezier, it's going to want to slow down, and it's pretty obvious when you scrub through it like this. So I want to G then X this and pull it this way. And what that's going to do is, first of all, just be an absolute annoyance. But if I grab the Y and then grab that X, it should now, yeah, space it out just a little bit better. Oh, actually, you know what would probably help is if I changed this one as well. So, which direction do I want to pull this up? Probably this way? Okay, no, other direction. Okay, so now it consistently rolls off there, although that probably goes a bit high. I'll just grab this down slightly. Update paths, and now that should... okay, it doesn't quite pull off the way I'd want it to. Okay, so I probably could stand to make this section of the animation just a smidge smaller. So if I remove a keyframe from there, and update paths on this. Okay, so I think the Z movement is fine, it's just this needs to be updated a smidge. So if I update paths, yeah, that's perfect. That's basically exactly what I'd want with this. So now it hits down here, and I do need to make this bounce a bit. But looking at the first few frames, so going from 20 to say, like frame 1 to say 30, right? Checking this seems fine. The only problem I have with this, and like, I don't think I'd be able to spot this prior to this assessment, but like even without the motion path, so if I delete this for now, You can see it actually hops slightly. So, yeah. It very mildly hops. I think it's because it's actually clipping downwards. So if I set this to 100 now, I'm not going to focus on this one too much for this image, because there's still like a bunch of stuff I need to do here, but this is like the first pass through. So, going here, I actually want this to bounce slightly. So in order to do that, I need to grab this one and this. Actually, can I? Okay, the control points. Right. So now that's going to... I don't want you to do that, thanks. Okay, scale that. That's probably a bit too much. So do that, update paths. So now I probably want to grab these minimally in the Y. Update paths. Alright, so I think the handle scale is a bit off on this one. I do that. Because it immediately hooks along there, I probably want to move this up a bit. Or even just move this one up a bit. So if I update paths... Now this one actually probably needs to be vectored. So handle type vector on this one and vector on this one. So if I update that, yeah, okay, that's smooth now. Now I just need to worry about this thing here. That shouldn't be a huge issue. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a piece, but it's not the end of the earth. I do need to move this one down slightly. Because I think that there is a problem with the arc here. In fact, I think it's been a problem since I started backing about with this. Where 28 actually needs to be in a slightly different position. So there is this tool here which is called a breakdowner. So create a subtle breakdown pose on the current frame. I have no idea what the hell that means, but I'm gonna figure out, I guess. So Shift E is the shortcut. I have no idea how this works. So it's like... Oh, I vaguely see... That's interesting. I did not know that that was how that worked. So I guess it makes a... Like, it aligns the... Okay. So what I think is going on with this thing is that it's basing the new position next to the old one based off of what it was doing on the previous keyframe here. So, because this keyframe was here, the expected motion apparently was to go down here. And not in this keyframe where I initially had it. Like if I undo that, you see how I had it down here, and now that it's moved over there, it's actually in the correct position. More or less. But what I'm going to do actually, like that's really helpful, but it's not what I want for this specific animation right now. But that's really useful information to know. X and Y rather. Y. Back cards. And then I want it to... Is that technically what it would be like? Okay, no, not quite. It needs to be... how would I go about doing this? Probably... Okay, so that's like severely off. So if I do this and update cards... Do we think this is the natural movement for this ball? Okay, I'm sorry. This one here is annoying me a bit. Which frame is that? 48? Alright, both of you. Victor, now. But for some reason, this one here is... Handle type, Victor. Update cards. There we go. So that's doing what's supposed to now. So since I've done that, I can now focus on whatever the hell is going on here. Or actually, do I want to just finish the rest of this animation first before I go into detail with it properly? So this is... Okay, so this stuff here is exactly what we expected to be from the last animations. So, as usual, grab all of these. That one too, and Vector. We all know how this works, chat. So that's going to go down, just do that. That's doing something strange there. What the hell's... What's happened here? Oh, this is an X-axis problem, isn't it? So that is on that frame. That needs to... These two need to be further down. Probably even a bit further than that. That cards. That looks to be about correct. Yeah. It accelerates at the end. This needs to be higher up. So, update paths. This one is odd in its movement. So, this one here specifically is frame 73. Actually, a lot of these don't even need to be here. You can skedaddle. You can skedaddle. Where's the other one? You also can skedaddle. So now if I update these are all going to be quite off. But that is fine, because that is what linear handles are for. So, going from here... So that one there, and that one there. And now I want to change those vector. Alright, now that's doing what it's supposed to. And to be fair, the curve on this could be a bit better. That's fine. So what I can do for this is I can actually G and then exit out of it. So then whenever I update this, yeah, it now flies off in the intended direction. Although I will do just that slight bit less. Okay, so now that's doing as intended. So it goes from 48 and bounce along there. Which actually tells me what I need to know about frame 20 and why that's a little bit janky. So I need to raise this one up, I think. Yeah, there we go. And then this one down slightly. Okay, so that should be fine. I know there's a lot of frames in between these, but I'll clean it up in a minute. So, goes down there, arcs off. The only issue is, actually, I'll probably at this rate, E minus 2. Ah, okay, so that tells me that that is aligned wrong now because of that. Update paths. So I just need to mess about with these until they do what I want them to do. G, X, Y. Take paths on that. Now why is that one being just a slight bit silly? Do I really need to push the curve on this one? Okay, no, it actually needs to be pushed in the other direction. Okay, that's also not it. It's like it's too flat at the top almost. Because, like, it seems weird, because I know for a fact the second I play this, this is just going to go down here and then pop up slightly before hitting the ground. That's not really what I want it to do. Does it have to do with this? If I move this along... Okay, yeah, that's what does it. So maybe the flatness is coming from this specific handle? Yeah. What I actually should probably be doing is aligning these. Okay, yeah, that's like probably the clean... Actually, that's a little bit janky now. But if I move this one down... slightly further? Okay, there we go. So that should fall off there. And that would be the natural movement of this. And it will hit that. Yeah, now I just need to edit that one. But the movement on that's fine. I actually probably need to make this a bit faster. So do this E probably minus 4 here. So now if I move this along. Actually, minus 4 is probably too much. Let's try E minus 2. So if I do that now, that should be relatively clean. So that would move along. It feels like it's skedaddling, but it's really not. I think it's just because I'm used to everything moving so slowly that whenever something actually moves fast, it feels weird to me. And, like, that probably doesn't make sense to a single person in this godforsaken chat, but, like, I swear everything for me just moves so much slower than it should. Alright, let's grab this. Let's make this one -4, actually. Yeah, that feels a bit better here. I do have my usual water, but I also have Coke here because I think it's the only thing that's going to keep me awake enough during the stream to actually do this animation. So now that sort of pops off, and I don't quite want it to do that, maybe? Like, the arc is good, but it's probably just a little bit steep for what I'm aiming for here. And also, this needs to be fixed, because why is it that far off from the Y? Alright, let's do something about the timing on these ones as well. So that one there probably needs to be accelerating a bit faster, maybe? Okay, is that gonna be enough? Possibly not. Although, okay, I think the timing is fine. It's the spacing up here. So, this frame here. These need to be moved like that. Okay, I think I've messed, like, this particular set of handles up. I think it might be because these are vector handles. So, the best way to fix this, I wonder if I switch this to auto clamp. Like, switch both these to auto clamp. And then change this one to be free-handled. Actually, hang on. No, I think this actually does need to be... This one does need to be vector. I think this one just needs to be auto-clamped. Same with, this one here. Because then I can just grab these and mess about with them as needed. Oh, interesting. Anyway, G then X, so these need to be scaled out a bit further. I don't know why it's doing this. On, yep. There's no reason for these to be all clumped up. These are the ones that I want to be moved. So, I probably want to make these auto as well. Okay, that was not what I intended that to do. These need to be moved out that much farther, huh? Okay, no, because that just messes about with it. In fact, I think I've already, yeah, I've already faffed about with it before. Let's go back to when these were vectored. from my bed. So this should be, yeah, like that. So if I wanted to fix these, if I updated that, yeah, that's still straight, but then it sort of, it does apply actually. So probably what I want to do here then is to change these to not 3, I don't think, maybe a line. Okay, now that's just done a thing that I didn't want it to do. What other modes do I have here? Not automatic. Okay, it looks like I might have to set these to auto clamp then. Darn it. Okay, that wasn't what I was hoping for. So if I update paths now, that's... Oh yeah, it's got the continuous acceleration. So I want these to start slightly further up. I want these to be slightly slower. But the problem is, if I move these and update them, they don't seem to really do a whole lot besides move the ball further up. It's almost like one of them has to be aligned in the Y while the other one has to be aligned in the X. Okay, let's try this. Update paths. Okay, because these ones are still vector, maybe I'll change these ones too to be auto clamp for now. Alright, let's try this. Okay, that's a little bit better. Although now it does feel like the ball is going to try and fly away on me. Let's make these two here be... What a conundrum. Trying to mess around with this end also messes with the rest of the animation, because now the ball is actually clipped in, and going near the end it's like pops out. Is the position of this wrong? Possibly. I don't get how it would end up happening, but that could be the case. Okay, let's try that again. So that's in the correct position now. Is this clipped in? I think it is. Alright, so that should be fine. Also, I need to mess about with these. So if I change these to the free handle type for now. And update paths. Okay, this one definitely needs to be moved along quite a bit. What is frame 29 doing? This needs to be moved up. This also needs to be moved. And then these two here need to be possibly move that way. Or even this way. Dang it, I can't get it to do what I want it to. Although, to be fair, it's probably not going to be a perfect bounce anyway, so... Besides, why am I even being distracted by that when I've got this problem to worry about? Let's do a little bit less. I don't know why it's moving this side, it shouldn't be. It should not be messing about with this side. Let's try moving these ones along a bit. And then I feel like frame 29 still needs to be moved up a bit. I'm putting too much stock into this. Probably just one more frame in between. Yeah, that should be good. So now it should roll relatively good. Okay, that's actually probably even way too fast. Let's try that. Okay, that should be fine, but now I have to deal with this arc down here being probably way too much. So, first of all, I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So now that's curved like that. And these handles I probably need to mess about with here. Probably this one. Do 3 on this, and... Okay, that's all well and good, but that really just makes it a little bit more annoying. Let's change this to 3 as well. So that should be a little bit more consistent. Now I do want to change that arc slightly. So yeah, that should be falling off just fine now. I'll probably... Okay, that's not quite what I was aiming for. So maybe the x-axis could provide some solution. So that should give me, yeah, a relatively even spacing between the two. I feel like there's probably too many frames in between the fall off here and the impact on frame 24. The same like how there's a few too many frames between these two here, so get rid of 1 frame here. And then on frame 18, I'll remove one frame from this one as well. Because I want the movement to the ground to be a lot quicker. Okay, maybe even this one is a bit too much now. So I'll just remove one frame from that. And then add it to this one here. Okay, so that seems alright. Now, if I just edit the whole bouncing section, we should be good. And as usual, with any bouncing related shenanigans, first one is probably remove a frame either side from this thing here. So one frame there, one frame there, update the paths. Make sure I scale these. So obviously I've got that nice clean parabola. Now there probably needs to be a bit more momentum on the X here. Like this is fine for the time being, like this lot here, but I think there probably needs just to be a bit more on the X. And then maybe slightly more on the Y here. And then this one, G and Y. Scale and the X. Update paths. Okay, this needs to be brought down a bit. And then these ones need to be scaled a bit. Same with this one. And then I need to remove 2 frames from here. So update the paths on that. Got to make this a little bit more consistent. Alright, now I can actually see what I'm doing with this lot. I'm gonna grab these in white. And then same with this one. So that also probably needs to be another y-axis shenanigan here. A bit more than that though. Needs to be relatively consistent with all these. So if I update the paths, that feels right. So then this slot here, let's be 1, 2, probably even 3 here. Now if I update the paths, there just needs to be another keyframe in this slot here. Just for that tiny little end bounce, you know? Don't mind me taking a quick drink. Now, this still needs to be heading in the X. Well, I mean, like, not by very much, but still. Needs to probably even take a bit longer. No, because if it takes any longer, it's gonna be really, really slow. I can probably get away with editing this, because it's still gonna not be as steep. I only need this one, though. Just this one. Okay, I think I've gotten away with it. Alright, let's just give this a... Let's give this a quick viewport animation render first. I'm gonna turn off the paths while I'm doing that. Well, actually, I can just, do this. There we go. Viewport render animation. Okay, so there's like a few frames at the end, which we don't really need. That's fine. I'm actually gonna have a quick drink of water just to get rid of the stickiness. If there's one thing I don't enjoy about that drink, it's just how sticky it can be sometimes. Let's see, view animation. Okay, it's good so far. But something is bothering me about this section here, right? So this here, I think I probably want to add an extra bounce to this section here before it starts really going down here. Needs to have a bit of a pause. Like, even just a couple frames just where it's not moving before it rolls down. And then goes along here. I think this end section is fine though. Yeah. I think I need to edit this bit here. Actually, I can't think of it. Hang on a second. Okay, I thought for a second there was like, really pausing at the bottom here. It kind of is though. Okay, it's like it comes to a... Like, basically just gets stopped here. Well, I'm not sure if anyone else can see that. But, like, it hits the third bounce and then it just... You know? So, that tells me that this here... So, this section here needs to have a bit of timing placed on it before it starts rolling down. And this here, I need to fix the animation here. Because it just, like, it pauses here before it rolls to a stop. And that's not really what I want. So I think, in order to fix this one in particular, I'm going to have these be aligned ones. I'm gonna change this one back to 3. So yeah, it basically just rolls to a stop, more or less. So if I move that up, that should be okay. So now if I update path, see how it has some spacing before it rolls to a stop? I'm actually gonna move that down a bit more. slightly further. Okay, so now if I view this section here, I'm going to re-render this so I can have a better idea. Alright, let's see what we've got going on. So, viewing animation. So it goes there now. Okay, that feels a lot better. It doesn't feel like it's accelerated. It doesn't feel like it's being frozen. It just seems like it's doing what it's supposed to. So I'm happy with it being like that. Now, for this, I'm just going to... So there's one frame there, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to keyframe this here. And then handle type, vector. Then very small amount of bounce there. So updating the paths. I'm gonna move it so this one has the closer keyframe. And then let's make this one slightly, not by much, but just enough so it, like, the bounce feels a bit better. Like, I don't want these to be the same height, you know? Actually, maybe I do. Because I feel like having them equal in the middle will probably be a good idea. Because, actually no, because the idea, right, is to have the middle of this, so the 64.5 frame here. So I want this to be the de facto middle here. So in order to do that, how do I go about it? Or even just having like one of them higher would... These need to be shorter. Alright, so if I do this now, it's going to come along, it's going to bounce. Okay, that feels a bit nicer. What I have noticed though is that the momentum for the initial bounce off of here, so this one here, it feels like it's stalling maybe just a slight amount. I could be wrong with that. But if I re-enable this, yeah, it feels like it's not quite moving enough between those two, maybe? So maybe the... Okay, like, I know the frame count between these points is good. I think it's just the movement in general. Yeah, like, looking at this, you see how steep that changes between these, especially when the rest of these are all relatively neutral. So that one is too steep to be neutral. Oh, sorry, it's too sharp to be neutral, rather. Needs to be a slight bit steeper. Okay, do I think that feels better? Okay, it feels a bit better. But now it just feels like it's losing momentum in the middle of that bounce set. And I think it's because... Actually, it might not have even been that one at all. It might have been this set here that's too much. So if I do that now, that should hopefully be okay. It still feels like it's stalling. Because, like, the distance between this first one here and the second one is just so much larger. So, like, this one here is fine. But then, like, the amount between here, like, the spacing between this one here and this one here just feels wrong. And then this one here, possibly. Okay, I'm gonna play this one, see how it feels. Okay, it does feel a bit better, I think. Yeah, I think that's what's expected from this one. Okay, I'm satisfied with how that's looking now. So now the real main event here is trying to get this here to bounce the way that I'd like it to. I think I'm making pretty good progress on this. I might be able to get something else done today. So, this here, this absolute conundrum of a bounce is actually more to the fact that I want to have a secondary bounce here too, which is why I need to fix this one. Because, like, for all intents and purposes, this is fine. Also, I just realized, this is not straight. Now, why did I have it like this? Right, because it's like that. And then this one probably needs to be edited down to a small amount. Also, I can hear my uncle out the back just going at it with the lawnmower. Like, for real, he's been doing jobs all day. Like, brother, I love you, but please just learn to maybe take a break for 5 minutes. Like, he's really going at it too. Like, I'm slightly concerned that he's going to overwork himself. And by slightly, I mean very much overwork himself. Okay. So that gives more lenience towards this way, so I want these ones to be the ones that move. Except it... Okay, I'm sorry? For real? I don't think there needs to be any more space between them. So wait, if this bounces... Yeah, okay, so I actually want this to stall here a bit. So if I update this... It actually provides a lot of thing there. Provides a lot of keyframes at the start, but really takes away from the end. And I think the end acceleration is actually just fine. So, how would I go about adding in a keyframe here? Probably 1, 2, 3. Maybe add a keyframe in here. And then both these. Actually, I need to switch these. So handle type, free handle type, same with these ones. Ooh, okay, so that's way too much height. And then for some reason, this has decided that it wants to be a floaty little shit. So I'm going to assume it's prompted by these two here. So if I G them Y these. A bit more. So if it does this, so it bounces again. So let's have a look at this in motion. Okay, it's not too bad. It's a little bit fast to see, but I think that's okay. It's all about actually leveling this one out, I think. So this one here, these don't need to move at all. So I can actually just auto clamp this one and rotate it until these two here are straight. Or actually just make sure these are in the correct position first. So now this one here specifically needs to be a free handle type and needs to be further down. Okay, that becomes an inherent problem now because it's really clipped in there. So this is not going to work unless I have this up. Okay, this one needs to be moved up. So auto clamp this one. GMY until it's like that. So this needs to be up a bit further. And then now it starts accelerating downwards. Now this one is still floating in the air, so let's just do that. Okay, now if I update the pathing on this, it's fine. It's these two here now that I need to deal with. So, freehand both of these. And make sure these are free as well. Ah, right, so this is actually still mine. Why are you still mine? There's no reason to be mine. Same with you. What are you doing? Cease. Okay, so it doesn't need to actually move along the X at all. It just needs to move along the Z. Well, actually, it might need to move along the X a little bit. So it does that. It still needs to be moving in X by the time this is going on. So I think this one actually might need to be planned. And then these two here need to be. Not sure how I feel about this at the moment. Cards on these. So I just got distracted with my email chat. Why is... There is no reason that you should be doing this right now. What do you mean I have a delivery update? It's a fucking Sunday. Huh? What in the god? Okay. Absolute weirdos. I have no idea why they're giving me delivery, okay. Delivery updates on a Saturday, but go off, I guess. I mean, deliveries in this country usually don't happen on weekends. I mean, there's like one shipping company that does it on Saturdays. And nobody ships on a Sunday. Ever. It's like a few frames here, right? So actually, this tells me that this actually needs to be pulled up more. I was like, why is this so, like, why is it so weirdly packed? It's not, it's just that the, thing is strange. So, like, that's probably the better arc for it. And then this here needs to be slightly further up, I believe. So, G, Y. Weird. Okay, now it's just doing some strange shit. I mean, it's doing exactly what I'm telling it to, but the problem is I have no idea what the fuck I'm telling it to do. In classic cyclonic fashion. Also, I've just realized this entire time that this was set to bounding box and not individual centers. Well, now, what is wrong with me? Okay, so it bounces up there. So it basically arrests all momentum at this section here. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this. Like, maybe I just, okay, so these ones here, auto clamped. So it like stays like that for a couple frames. I don't think I want it to be staying like that for that long. Let's see. Yeah, it freezes for way too long. So I think I want to remove a frame off of this. Okay, here's my problem I'm having. I want to add an extra bounce here, but I just cannot for the life of me figure it out. Like, the rest of this animation seems fine. So maybe these two here. So let's move this up then. Oh, good lord, he's really going at it. So I think the bounce on this needs to be higher than the... Wait a minute, this is clipping into the ground again. Bruh. Why are you like this? I thought I fixed this problem. You mean to tell me that you decided that it was far more important for you to clip into the goddamn ground rather than, you know, doing the thing that I asked you to do? Like, come on with this. So, this here... is still clipping into the ground? No, it does not seem like it. Okay, good. Now I just need to figure out the conundrum of the extra bounce. Because it just goes here and then almost immediately does a weird thing. So, like, it goes down here, hits the thing. I actually wanted an extra bounce in here. It doesn't seem like I'm going to get it. So, like, the only way I could get an extra bounce in here would be to raise these ones here. So if I set those to 3... Okay, no. These ones as well. I don't know why I keep pressing Q as though that's the thing that does the handle changing. It's not. There's no precedent for me to even do it anyway. So wait, if it goes up here... Maybe it actually just needs to be stalled a bit. Okay, maybe it needs to be... Like, all these need to be stalled for maybe 2. It seems like a weird decision. think that's... Let's see how it looks without the... I think that's okay. Like, it doesn't feel like it takes too long at the top either. Although it does feel like these need to be a bit sharper. Admittedly. Like, I know that's not picking up very well on mic, but the second I start speaking, I just know that the goddamn lawnmower is gonna be audible underneath my voice. It just starts rolling. Actually, no, that's fine. And then I actually want this to accelerate a bit slower. So like these here, they need to be pulled out a bit. I don't know why it's affecting that. It shouldn't do. Like, huh? Why is it like this? So it bounced along there. Bounces and then goes along, but it... I don't know, it just doesn't quite feel right. Maybe it's too far? No, I don't think it is. Okay, maybe if I move that so it's borderline a straight line. Okay, yeah, it bounces while pausing, and that's actually kind of what I want. So if I turn this off and replay this around here. Yeah, it seems about right. Okay, now I just need to deal with the acceleration in this section here. Maybe extending this slot out by 1 frame. Just to give it a little bit more time to make it down that ramp. Yeah, that feels a lot better. So if I update the paths on this... And then going here. So these are kind of interesting. There's either continuous acceleration or none. So let's see. Automatic handles only take immediately adjacent keys into account and are adjusted to avoid jumps in acceleration resulting in smoother curves. However, key changes may affect interpolation over a large stretch of the curve. Interesting. So I guess that's what causes some of the weird things where it curves up off of the ramp, possibly. This feels about right. So it goes down. Okay, I feel like Is this too much of a gap? Probably not, actually. I might... Let's edit this just a smidge. Probably... Okay, that's too much. Let's recalculate this. Or maybe it needs to be scaled in the upper edge. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes with these. Also, I just realized I was doing the wrong one. Lol. Okay, Bezier is not the way to go about this. Actually, does it need to be changed? The arc looks good. Probably need to scale this one out just slightly. Okay, that probably makes it better. That should be fine, that should be fine. Do I like the arc on this one? It's probably... Okay, I'm not sure how many of y'all are aware of specific game mechanics, but one of the ones that's very common in video games is something that's called coyote time. So... I don't believe that's how you spell coyote. It's, there's an extra on there. So, C-O-Y. So, coyote time. And what coyote time is, it is a... So, say like you're jumping off of a platform. Right? Like you're sprinting off a platform and there's a few seconds in the air that you can actually input a jump to like make your character jump in the air, obviously. Now, the timing for this sort of thing is specific to each game. So like some games could have like say 3 frames of coyote time, some games could have 5, others could have 1, some could have 0 at all. But coyote time is a thing that allows you to basically just like put your inputs in without being frame perfect. Anyway, my point with this is that this thing has a little bit of coyote time where it's sort of just like actually hanging as opposed to dropping. So I need to edit probably the X on this one, I believe is what causes that. Let's see. So the frame for this one is 18 to 20. So yeah, this hasn't quite been fixed yet. I wonder if it's because this one needs to be changed a bit. Okay, grab this one a little bit further here. Okay, that should eliminate most of that weirdness. Okay, so it goes off here a little bit and then starts curving downwards. So instead of having like a slight hang in the air, we now actually have this going in the direction that I want it to. So yeah, we've got the ball starts here, it falls off on this frame, it hits the ground here and bounces, does an additional bounce here before rolling in this direction and falling off here. Now, I think the fall off on this one's a bit steep, however, and this is like probably a really hard thing to tell, but this one here, like this platform here, I am 95% certain is actually a different angle from this one. Like, I'm 95% certain that's the case. Can I... So if I do this, right? How do I use the... Actually, I can just do this, right? Okay, wrong direction. Is there a way where I can, like, prevent this from moving around? Let's see. Control while dragging... Drag left... Not really. I mean, it has a snap function. That's not entirely accurate, but that's fine. So I'm not entirely certain what the angle of this is, but I can probably mess about with this. So I'm going to save this as a copy for my file specifically. So I'm going to put in a new folder here, do practice. So Obby practice, this is code 5A, basic rants. So save that. Sorry, I'm not interested in lyric-based videos. Well, lyric-based music at this second time. So if I go in here now, I have to... Where is it? There it is. Because I know for a fact this is uneditable. So if I rotate this... Like that's a... Let's say it's a 19-degree angle, right? So if I go into this one here... So if I grab this one... It's more than that, I think. Actually, it's not. Oh, interesting. Well, I guess I've been proven wrong. Okay, it is actually the case, but it's off by like a couple of degrees. Like, it's barely off, but it's just enough that it makes me want to change the movement based on that. So the question is, which one has the steeper angle? I believe it's the one on the right by about 2 degrees. So this thing has an 18-degree rotation, this one has a 20-degree rotation. So if I want to have good parity between these, I actually need to... Actually, hang on, no, this is correct, isn't it? So, like, this needs to have relatively good amount of movement. And then this one probably needs to be 1 frame shorter, maybe? To make up for the fact that it has a different timing to it. I think I tried this earlier and it fell off, but we'll see. It does feel off now that I think about it. So revert that. So yeah, it is actually slightly faster on that one, but I feel like that's by design. Although the top one could probably use like a frame off, perhaps. So if I do that now... So the next thing to change up would probably... Do I need to change the spacing between these at all? Possibly not. I'm not sure how much I'd even change it by if I did. So if I move this one... Okay, it's probably fine. So that movement's okay. Like, as expected for something that has half momentum, it would drop sooner. Because it wouldn't have... So here's the sort of explanation that I have here, or at least my logic behind this. Because this has the full ramp worth of momentum, it is going to go significantly further than the fact that this is only half of it. So this is one half of the original amount of ramp that this has been moving along. So even though, like, it feels like it's moving faster, like, it's basically the same speed. And then obviously because this is half the ramp, it's only going to go roughly about half the distance. Now, possibly it might have wanted to impact sooner, so instead of here, it would be probably like about here. But I want to have like the slight movement exaggeration on this one. And then the bounces are all curved properly. This lot here is still bouncing properly, and then the end there... Do I want... Okay, here's the thing. Do I want the kickback from the momentum? Maybe. Do I really want to put myself through the agony that is ball rotation again? So the last frame is on 82. So if I go 86, insert a keyframe here. And then just overshoot this a slight amount. So I want to make these free handles. Oops. I didn't realize that I was selecting the keyframe and not the handles themselves. So that's 86. Where is 82's other... There it is. It was all the way off to the side. So if I do aligned, I can just do this by eye. And then this one needs to be freed as well. Be heading up towards 3D modeling this coming week. I haven't decided on a topic. I'm sort of torn between two of them. So one of the places that I learned from, which is CG Cookie, has a series of models that they're basically like challenges. They're weekend challenges. And the idea is throughout the entire week, I would go ahead and do a different model each week. Well, sorry, each day rather. And then on the last day, maybe try and fit them all into a scene. Otherwise, the other option I have is because, like, I've been looking at, Sly Cooper, right? And something that has interested me was the map design of, like, say, Paris and that sort of thing. So Sly 2 specifically is like map design, all that sort of thing. So, like, on one hand, I maybe want to do like a 7-day challenge thing where I do an individual object per day. So if I have done a couple of these in the past, just whenever I could get around to them. I believe this one was under... Where is it? I feel like... Yeah, it's under challenges. So this one is a more specific type of image. So this is a Brio truck. And I actually 3D modeled this one based off of these sorts of images. Now, my wood grain texture leaves a lot to be desired. But, like, this is be the sort of thing that I'd be doing, is just taking each one of these images and just recreating them in Blender. That's the general idea, at least, anyway. Otherwise, for this one, I'd probably want to do... basically, I want to call it Kit Bash. What's the thing called? Like, it's like prefabricated 3D model parts, and then putting them together in a scene. But I'd have to do possibly a little bit more research depending on how things go. So... Right, I was doing this. So I want to... G them Y. Oh god damn. I thought I set these all to be free handles. Why are y'all like this? Cease. So... Grab this one. Yeah, it's probably even a bit too much. So, G Y. Now if I grab these in Y. And then I actually move this along. Let's do aligned on this one. Just like that. Just a bit more. Okay, this has no reason to exist, so that can go. So it goes through there. Here until like frame 9. It feels like it hits a wall almost. Let's try this. Okay, not quite what I want. Maybe like this. It still feels so steep. Okay, maybe this is actually a bit too much. Okay, so it bounces, and then, yeah, that should be good. I need to remove all of these. Alright, now this should be fine in its entirety. Like, it's probably not the best animation to ever be made, but it certainly could be worse. You know? So if I view animation. The most unfortunate part about all of this, and like, I've watched 2 videos today, so there's a part 1 and part 2 to this particular assignment. I still need to do rotation for this bastard, and we all know how I feel about rotating an object manually. Oh no. And here I am thinking about doing all 4 of these. Like, this is not going to be an easy assignment in the slightest. But I'll probably get through it eventually. Alright, I'm gonna say this is an incremental for now. Let's have a look-see. I've got a little bit of time left. Let's have a look-see at this thing. Which I have still yet to finish doing, I think. Now, the only issue I'm having with this particular model is, for whatever reason, the eyes don't want to stick to the head bone. So, like, if I... Actually, what I can do is I can control P... Okay, first of all, I'm going to control P this to the... let's see, Alt P, clear parent. So we know that nothing is affecting this at the moment. So if I go into pose mode and start, like, backing about with this and bloody moving everything known to man, like, it's not going to do anything. So now if I go into edit mode, select this one, and parent this to the bone. Now if I pose this, okay, yeah, that's working as intended now. I guess it must have been parented to something else as well, and must have carried the parent over. A little bit annoying, but hey, at least I fixed it now. So now I just need to start doing some posing on this. So that tells me that this here is affecting some stuff down here that doesn't need to be touching. Also the back of the head. Now if I go into here and pose. I don't know why it's randomly grabbing stuff it shouldn't be. Pose mode. That's probably about as good as I'm gonna get. Like, to be fair, this is probably clipping through, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be moved. Hi, Likely Autistic. How are you doing today? I'm just finished doing animation. I'm just currently working on this model for an entire scene I've got going on here. Oh, not this. There we go. I promise there's a good explanation for it, but I honestly do not have the time to get into it right now. I'm Gucci. I thought this was a restream for some reason. What about you? Oh, I'm doing alright. If this was a restream, I think Twitch, like, I legally have to disclose that via Twitch's, well, for TOS reasons, I have to disclose that. But no, this is just me doing animation stuff, like, literally every day. So I don't blame you if it feels a bit samey. Okay. Anything being affected here? Nothing out of the ordinary, it seems. Ah, okay. So, that is affecting that, but there's not much I can do about that one because the whole low poly count of this model in particular. Actually, hang on. Is the hand affecting the... Oh my god, it is. It's affecting the entire shoulder. Okay. Weight painting, chat. It is, not a fun time. A necessary evil, but not a fun. Thankfully, at least I get the ability to mirror my weight paints. So at least I know the other hand won't be doing this. I think that's everything. Now, if I... Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, let's check the legs. That is affecting the chest and the arm, and I do not want it to. So if I move that up here, I can then... that. Now, the coloring for that one is up there. I hate the gradient that they use for this. There is probably some way that I could fix it, so... This is way over my head, but need AF. Okay, just between you and me, it's slightly over my head too. I have no idea what I'm doing. However, like, I know barely enough to know that, having the leg lift upwards is not supposed to, like, distort the chest. So, I'm just doing my best with what little information I have. Alright, so... Okay, that's still doing something on the arm. How is it? Bruh. Oh, it's probably the underside of the arm, actually. I wonder if changing this to something different... Oh, I can't matte cap and weight paint mode? Really? Do you think they would have a... like a mode-specific matte cap that prevents shadows from affecting the ability to see the transition of colors, but you know, I'm not the one who designs the software, so okay, okay, that's not me either. Get out of here. Try and get the back of the arm too. The pain never ends then, I see. I mean, be thankful you didn't see me a few streams ago where I was just trying to animate a ball rolling along the ground. If you want to see pain, like, animation is where it's at. Unfortunately, that's the thing that I'm trying to actively learn. It do be like that sometimes. Okay, that... Actually, that is correct because the weight paint here would be affecting this section. So, while a bit janky, that is technically correct. I don't know why it's still doing that, though. I might need to ease up the paint on this section here. Plot this. Alright, so that... okay. So, fun little fact, the way that weight painting works is these little dots, like these little joins here, these vertexes, is where the paint actually goes. So, if I were to do this, it specifically targets this point here, but I can't say, like, decrease the size of my brush and paint it here. It has to be on one of these points. And that is why trying to weight paint anything is an absolute pain in the ass. I mean, it's probably not so bad if you've got proper topology, but this thing just isn't. But I mean, what do you expect from a very poorly rigged PS1 model? Yeah, that should be fine, and then the other side obviously is mirrored, so I don't have to worry about that. Now considering that's joined into the skin there, that seems correct. This one is too far away from that section, so that does need to be fixed. What could reduce that impact? So like the impact of the weight paint, first of all, just having like a good amount of geometry on this. So all of these faces here are individual pieces of geometry. Having more of them would allow you to weight paint areas more specifically. Knowing what you're doing is also really helpful. Having good flow of topology would also help, because that way you could pick specific areas. But okay, I'm actually going to compare this to the original model for just a moment here. So if I get it out of local view, I'm going to import the original file here. And 3D models, mirror models, up, and right here. So this is the original model. And while this is in the form of triangles as opposed to just regular quadded faces, like the flow on this is a lot worse than what you'd expect from a regular game. So like for a regular game, there would be like more polygons around the face to allow for better facial movement. The elbows, the wrist, all the joints would have more of these faces to help rig things a lot better. So weight painting is entirely dependent on having basically a pre-planned model, more or less. And a well-designed one at that. So, unfortunately, because of the way that I am doing this model, there's not much I can do about it. Okay, right, I've got to pose this so I can see where it is stretching. What's the best way to pose this? Probably along the x-axis would be the best idea. And weight painting, so yeah, right there. So the cause of this particular problem is just the set of vertices in here. But yeah, I don't know why. Usually, like, if you have a reasonable amount of geometry, which this one is, you should be able to automatically weight paint this and get relatively close, but this model just has not been. And I'm convinced it's just because of the way that the flow topology is gone. Because generally, like, say the tail, for example, here. When you have something like this, you expect it to go straight into the back and the side. But what this has done here is, instead of going straight up the back like this section here has, this section here is going here and taking a U-turn and going back down the other direction, which is not something you normally see or want from a model, because in this case you would want it to go up this direction. But because of the way that I was basically forced to redo this model, like, the only way to fix this problem would to basically just build it from scratch. And for something that is essentially a shitpost, I don't really want to put that much effort into it, you know? Like, I enjoy a bit of high effort garbage, but sometimes it's just not worth it. It's really a case of picking your battles. Alright, so So, need to get rid of all of this in here. I think this is probably far down enough where that probably actually can be. So that should be far down enough where it's not going to affect the rest of the body here. I just need to make sure I get all of the unnecessary colour out. I wonder if they have a mode where it shows like black to white or something like that. I feel like that might be helpful to me. There's probably some plugin that allows you to change it. Okay, so moving that. It's still moving the tail section. What is up with that? Alright, let's try that. Okay, yeah, now that's no longer moving the tail, which is what I was aiming for. And now that should be correct on the side as well. Yep. So I've got just about every... Wait, what happened to the eyes? Oh, dang it, not this again. Okay. Oh, right, local view. So this is actually a separate object entirely. So whenever I like highlight these and press the slash key on my number pad, it allows me to go into what's called local view. And it just allows me to focus on those specific highlighted objects. But because the eyes are completely separate, when I do that, the eyes just disappear. They're still there, just hidden. Now, I just want to check to make sure the scepter is still attached to the hand. Okay, yep, that's good. And then for this one, the crown. Ooh, okay. Do I want to reattach this to the head? That's the issue here. So, is this being affected? Okay. I found this problem with the eyes last time, so if I clear the parent on this, go into edit mode, grab this and this, not that one, middle one, thanks, and parent it to the bone. Now that should be fixed. I don't know why I've had this problem with this particular model, but whenever I was moving stuff around, any separate objects would just fly off for no reason. But I got there eventually. So, I think I'm just about done for this one. I'll just grab this out. Get rid of all of this information here, because I do not need it. And start this off in probably map preview for now. Alright, so if I grab probably pose mode's fine for this one. Because I can just okay. The legs are not attached to the root bone. That's fine, that's an easy enough fix. If I grab that and down here, actually I need to be in edit mode for this one. And here, and keep offset. The fact that it's connected to the middle shouldn't matter. And then I need to do the same on the other side. I could symmetrize, but that's not nearly as amusing, and I'm afraid that if I symmetrize, it's going to break the weight painting I just did, so no thanks. Right, parent, keep offset. Alright, the tail's not broken either. Okay, good to know. further away. So that should be a good position. Have it rotated towards that character. Now, I do believe in the original game, the sorceress can't fly by herself. I believe she has a UFO that she normally rides in, but this isn't meant to be realistic. This is Minecraft characters battling a Spyro character. I probably need to fix some of the textures too now that I think about it, because some of these are probably a bit messed up. Actually, it might just be the tail. So if I go into UVF just a second moment. And why is this not showing? Huh? Really? I'm sorry? Hang on, I don't have Twitch side open. Thank you, Likely Autistic, for the follow. I very much appreciate it. I always get a bit jump scared whenever that notification goes off. I don't know why. I guess I'm just not used to streaming. Alright, let's see. Where is... That's the texture paint mode. So this should be... Oh. Where is it gone? Oh, it's because I had the wrong thing selected. I was supposed to have this one selected. There we go. Now, if I grab all this down here, I should be able to see... I'll be making a few more accounts to keep jump scaring then. I very much appreciate it, but you don't have to go that far out of the way for me. I'm just, you know, doing my thing. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit messed up. Can I isolate these? No, not. Why can't I isolate these? Oh wait, I know why. Because the method that I do for this entirely revolves around me inverting everything and then hiding it. Alright, let's see. I can probably just use the snap into this one. Why is that connected to that one? That should be... Okay, that's a little frustrating. If I move these, it's just going to move the entire thing. So, I believe base mode, it doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. So, fun little thing. This entire set of textures is mirrored because I mirrored the character earlier. So now all these are stacked on top of each other. I just have to select everything and drag it. An unintentional time save, but a very welcome one. Oh. And Alt-H to unhide everything. Okay, that looks a bit cleaner. Now I just need to do this side. And do I need to... I probably need to edit the position of those two. So this I need to... X. H. Okay, that's a bit cleaner. I just want to check these ones as well. What is the spot here? I might be able to play with this. The problem is that I need to be able to see the other part of this as well, like the rest of the tail. But, like, the positioning on that's fine, technically. Actually, does this look strange at all? I think that looks normal, actually. Alright, so... have the character... So the first thing is having the character be basically leaned towards the other two. Have the tail maybe drop down just a slight amount. It all looks strange, but who am I to judge? Yeah, like, for 3D animation, like 3D modeling in general, everything looks strange up until the point where you decide to partake in it yourself and you realize, oh, these people just don't like themselves. Just like any other artist, really. That. I'm gonna try and not have the stuff clipping through the leg. Be a great start. I had this on Z actually. Have the character's mouth open. I want to have the stuff actually pointed at the character. So that vaguely looks like it. Actually, that needs to be much further out. The upside with 3D modeling, at least, is that you can have different angles to make sure that everything is the exact way that you want it. Might have the mouth open just slightly less. Have this probably swing back a bit. Have the legs in different positions as well. I could even, like, frame this as the sorceress has just jumped off the ground. So, for a PS1 character to do that, it's usually, like, super exaggerated. And then this one would probably be also slightly down, but not by much. We also imply that the tail is following. Now, I kind of actually want to have eyebrow controls on this. And the only reason for that is to actually give the illusion of anger and whatnot, but probably have to add extra bones. Oh heck, I've just realized what time it was. How much longer do I have? I don't really have much time actually. So I've still got to go and feed the dog and all that fun stuff. Alright, I guess I'll be ending off the stream there. Where is my... There we go. So thank you all for coming to the stream today. I managed to get a fair bit done. Tomorrow I'll probably be doing more animation. I'll be switching up to probably one of the harder assignments. Good stream, I'm glad you liked it. Do I have anyone to raid tonight? Do I? No, it looks like... So, the funny thing is, chat, I have like a list of people I prefer to raid, and unfortunately none of them are online, but that's just on me for streaming extremely late. So, yeah, tomorrow's just more animation stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to get this battle scene done as well, but we'll see. Anyway, I shall see y'all next time.